Everyone please say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Valla. I know 2 or 3 words of Hravatsky. It's Hravatsko, is it? This evening's session is entitled An Evening with the Guru. The Guru requests, if possible, these lights not shine in his face. So, Guru means one who knows the meaning and purpose of life. Now it's all shining in your faces. Tamasi ma jyotir gamaya. All right, that's a good idea. Well done, thank you. Guru is one who knows the meaning and purpose of life and how to guide one towards fulfilling the purpose of life. The proper use of human life is described by Lord Krishna, who is the greatest authority in all matters and especially in these matters. Lord Krishna states, I'm going to say a verse. Labdva sudurlabham idam bahu sambhavante manusham artadam anityam api hadhira turnam yatejana patedanumritya yavan nisriyasaya vishaya khalu sarvata syat. He says that we have attained the human form of life after many births. Of course, the understanding that we are going through many births is foreign to Western culture. But it is an accepted principle within Vedic culture. Vedic culture means the culture based on Veda. Ved means knowledge. So particularly that is knowledge of our existential position. The Vedic culture is a culture dedicated to understanding our existential position, the meaning and purpose of life. So that we are going from body to body is explained elsewhere by Lord Krishna. For instance, he says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptihi. He gives the example that we go from childhood to youth to old age, and these are all changes. And death is just another change. The death of the body does not mean the death of the soul. Because for the soul, na jayate mriyate vakadachin. The soul is never born and never dies. So, with this understanding, the whole Vedic culture is based on this understanding. Now, often people who hear about what is called reincarnation, people from the Western countries who hear about this, they, if they think about it, they think, well, what will I be in my next life? They think, well, maybe next time round I'll be playing for the Croatian football team. Or maybe I won't have to get an American visa, I'll be born in America. They presume that I'll take a human birth. But actually, that's not a fact. We can take birth in any species of life. Wherever there is life, there is the soul. Even in each blade of grass, that grass is growing because of the presence of the soul. So we get various bodies according to our karma. This word is karma has entered the Western lexicography. Everyone gets what they deserve and what they desire. For instance, someone may desire to be a big leader. Now the American presidential election is coming up, and they've been preparing for it for so many months, those who were, say that. And eventually, after much endeavor, one person will become the supposed leader of the United States of America. And all the others who wanted to be the president are disappointed. All the others who wanted to be the president will be disappointed. Some drop out at an earlier stage. So those who want to be leaders, they, according to the subtle laws of nature, they may get the opportunity in their next life. They might not become the President of the United States in the next life. But according to their activities, for instance, if they deserve to get the birth of a dog, they may become the biggest dog in a pack of dogs. And actually the satisfaction that the biggest dog gets from being the biggest dog is the same kind of satisfaction as a human being gets from being the biggest face or the most popular face in the newspaper. So like this, life is going on. And on and on and on. Life after life. And if you don't make it this time to be a leader, never mind, there's always another chance. And what to speak of being the President of the United States of America, if someone performs pious activities, he could become the head of a whole planet. However, Lord Krishna, who is the original Guru, does not recommend that we try to become even the head of a planet. Lord Krishna points out the various defects of material existence. The 4 principal defects are Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, death, old age and disease. So even if one becomes the leader or the head of a planet, even if one wins an Olympic gold medal, even if one becomes a famous rock star, one still has to suffer birth, death, old age and disease. Even if one is as rich as Bill Gates and can call in, every time he has a little pain in his toe, he can call in all the best doctors in the world. But with all the best doctors in the world, there's no guarantee that they can make the pain go away in his toe. What is guaranteed that even with all the best doctors in the world, one day Bill Gates, his obituary is going to appear in the newspaper. And in his next life, well, we don't want to curse him, but you never know, he might end up as a beggar. Or worse. So material life means getting born again, dying, getting born again, having lots of hopes of being happy, gradually seeing all one's hopes dashed, gradually seeing one's beautiful body become less and less beautiful, seeing the wrinkles grow on the face, and one day getting ready for the obituary. Obituary. If you're big enough, you can have your obituary in the newspaper. If you die tomorrow, you might get your obituary in the completely free Croatian forum or something like that. Somewhere. Yeah, absolutely free, whatever it is. He was a nice guy. We liked him. We didn't like him when he was alive, but now he's dead, we like him. So Lord Krishna points out that material life is miserable, and the Guru is one who points out that material life is miserable. He simply repeats the truth that Krishna speaks. So generally we think that the truth is something mystical, vaporous, inexpressible. Well, this is true, that material life is miserable, that everyone has to die and it's miserable. That's not, that doesn't require one to even go into meditation or to imagine oneself to be on some mystical platform to understand. It's very clear. These are basic facts of material life. There are so many educational institutions all over the world. Presume there's a university in Rijeka. So there are so many universities and PhDs coming out of the university, and some of them get a Nobel Prize. And they'll teach you all kinds of things about the material world, or at least what they think is going on in the material world. They'll teach you how this atom is interacting with another atom. And then they'll become more advanced and say, well, actually there are no atoms, it's all just waves. And the historians will argue over what happened, but whatever happened, it happened. So they have dedicated so much time, energy and money in examining this material world. But they never teach these basic facts that the material world is miserable because it is full of birth, death, old age and disease. the whole educational system avoids the actually pretty clear and obvious fact that this material world is miserable. Even the so-called religions take part in this cheating. They give the idea that you pray to God and He'll make your life happy. But actually God tells us that this material world is miserable, and whatever you do in this material world, there's nothing that can make us happy on the material platform. So Lord Krishna, who corresponds to that vague term which comes up in Western lexicography, God, what do you call it in Hrvatsky? Bog. That He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He teaches us about the condition of this material world. People say God, but they have no idea actually who He is. And they don't really want to know too much who He is. As long as He gives us blessings and doesn't interfere with us too much, we'll be happy with Him. He's inconceivable, so you just remain inconceivable and we'll enjoy ourselves. So Lord Krishna teaches that this material world is miserable, but the purpose of life is to be happy. This might sound like a conundrum or a dilemma or a contradictory statement. But actually it's not, because Lord Krishna describes that there is a world of happiness, a different platform altogether, where there is pure, unadulterated happiness. So what is pure, unadulterated happiness? You can imagine, well, maybe the Croatian football team wins the World Cup every time. And there's no winter. You can lie on the beach 12 months a year. And there's no Serbia. So you might imagine that this is a platform of pure happiness. Of course, in the Serbians are imagining that the pure happiness, there's no Croatia. But the platform of pure happiness is a different platform altogether to that of the material platform. The material platform is based on considering I am the body and I am meant to enjoy this body, which makes us think in terms of friends and enemies, and which makes us attempt to enjoy this body which is doomed. However, the nature of the soul, who we are, is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The spiritual platform is one of pure, unadulterated, unending, unlimited bliss. Pure, unadulterated, unending, unlimited. In service to Lord Krishna. Now we may think, well, if you're serving, how can you be happy? That is why we suffer birth, death, old age and disease. Failure to recognize our position as eternal servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of our suffering within material life. And that is actually the platform of bliss for the soul. Now it's very difficult for us to understand this because we are in contaminated consciousness. That contaminated consciousness requires to be purified. That purification begins with understanding that we are not in a very good position. We're in a position where we have to suffer. We don't want to suffer. Even though we don't want to suffer, we are forced to suffer old age, disease, death, and then rebirth. So perception of the miseries of material life is the beginning of the spiritual quest. To try to find some platform beyond the platform, the material platform on which we are forced to suffer. We cannot avoid it. So this endeavor to attain the spiritual platform is possible in the human form of life. As long as we are in the bodies of dogs, cats, camels, asses, trees, etc., there is no question of inquiring into the ultimate reality. The human form of life is rare. What's the population of Rijeka? 200,000, 300,000. And in the summer, With the floating population, it probably doubles. Not in Rijeka. People don't come to Rijeka, they just pass through it, isn't it? Anyway, it's about 300,000. Okay, how many fish in the Adriatic Sea? Any guesses? Any piscologists here? When we drive from Ljubljana to Rijeka, we see so many forests and so many fields. How many trees are there? How many blades of grass are there? Who's been to India? Anyone? The population of India is now said to be more than 1 billion and plus 100 million. So it's like 1,100 million and boom, it just increased by one. Boom, it just increased by another. So there's a lot of human beings, a lot more than in Croatia. Those who have been to India know that for every human being there's probably 1,100 million mosquitoes. A billion plus. So the human form of life, if we see the number of humans compared to other species, it's much less. And the human form of life is rare, but it is the only form of life in which we can inquire into the absolute truth. The mosquito is only inquiring, where is there a human being, so I can suck its blood. And in the animal species, they're mostly interested in where is food, where is sex, and where can I lie down and sleep. So Lord Krishna states that human life is meant for self-realization. And now we have the human life. Somehow or other we're fortunate enough at this point in time to have the human life, which comes after many births. So this human life is very valuable, but it's temporary. We won't be here long. We're all going to die soon. I'm not pronouncing a curse, it's just a fact. The young people may think, well, I've probably got 50 years ahead of me. Maybe you don't even have 50 seconds. But anyway, even if you have 50 years ahead of you, it's not much time, as those of us who have passed the age of 50 realize, I hope. When one passes the age of 50, he hopefully becomes aware that I really don't have much time left. Of course, in the modern soul-killing civilization, people, they just go on lying on the beach and pretending that there aren't wrinkles on their face. Even though their hair is falling out and their face is getting more and more wrinkled and all their bodily functions are gradually failing, they just go on trying to enjoy their body up to the last gasp. So Lord Krishna, as the original Guru, advises us to be aware of the temporality of life and the value of human life. And therefore, while we have this human form of life, to act before inevitable death, to act in such a way that we don't get born again. Okay, there you have it. There's the meaning of life. Or the purpose of life is to act in such a way that we don't get born again. Or if we say, well, it's great weather, why don't we enjoy on the beach and we can think about the purpose of life a little later? Or the Olympic Games, did they start yet? I keep on asking that, I keep on getting told no. I guess it will start sooner or later. You say that. Yes, I appreciate self-realization is very important, but let's watch the Olympic Games first. And then, it's my brother's wedding, and then it's my mother's wedding, and then it's Christmas, then it's my father's funeral, and time to get my PhD, and tick, 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 time is going away. And then we get born again. And maybe you can become a starfish and lie on the beach. Starfish, that's not a very pleasant way. The starfish is not happy to lie on the beach. The power of Maya or illusion is such that we give more importance to other things than self-realization. So a guru is one who, first of all, calls us, wake up, utishta, jagrata, prapya, viranda, nibodhata. Get up, wake up, attain the boon of human life. And then gives clear knowledge of what the purpose of life is and how to attain it. Of course, this is a far bigger topic that can be treated in a brief introductory lecture. But in summary, the purpose of life is to understand Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Someone may say, well, I'm a Christian and I don't believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or if we're in Bosnia, they may be more likely to say, well, I'm a Muslim and I don't believe that Krishna is the Supreme. But jivasya tattva jignasa, one should live for the sake of inquiring into actual reality. We tend to think, well, because I'm born in a Christian country, that Christianity must be it. I'm born in a Christian country, I'm very important, therefore Christianity must be correct. Or I'm born in a Muslim country and I'm very important, therefore Islam must be correct. But inquiry into the ultimate truth means to go beyond dogmaticism and sentimental attachment. What is the actual nature of the Supreme? That is not... that knowledge is not captured within just that knowledge is not the property of any dogmatic religious group. The truth transcends dogmatic religious boundaries. Dogmatic religious boundaries, or dogmatic any boundaries, but yeah. So that truth is propagated in human society by those who have seen the truth. The truth or the nature of reality is not a matter of opinion. Some people say, well, I have my truth and you have your truth, so it's just a matter of opinion. This is nonsense. There are certain facts which are axiomatic. For instance, that if you have one apple and someone else gives you another apple, you have two apples, 1 + 1 = 2, is not a matter of opinion. So someone may say, well, I have my own opinion and I have invented my own system of mathematics in which 1 + 1 = 3. Well, try building a bridge based on that mathematics. Of course, no one will give you the opportunity to do so because you're simply insane. Someone who is actually convinced that 1 + 1 = 3 may have a right to his own opinion, but he is a madman. So, what is the nature of reality? It is often, people think, well, either they resort to dogmatism or so-called mysticism. Mysticism, so-called mysticism. Either they adopt some dogmatism, I just believe what's in the Bible. Mind closed, book closed, mind closed, everything closed. Or they resort to this so-called mysticism in which they talk all kinds of weird things which no one can understand, and people think that this is spiritual advancement. However, the Vedic approach is one that appeals to the intelligence, or the God-given intelligence that is apparent in the human form of life, in some human beings, that there is the platform of spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. We call that Krishna consciousness. It's not that simply, well, we believe in Krishna and if you don't follow it, you just go to hell, and that's the beginning and the end of our discussion. But rather, one needs a guru to explain to one the nature of reality and how to connect with that. So one who is intelligent requires a guru. Guru is one who helps the disciple to understand the nature of reality. It is something like a teacher, but not exactly like a teacher of mundane subjects. Just like, for instance, if you want to study mathematics, you can't get knowledge of mathematics simply by meditating. Nor can one get knowledge of mathematics simply by reading books. The book is required, the standard knowledge is in the book, but one requires a teacher to guide one through the various concepts. So similarly, to understand the nature of reality and the supreme truth, one needs guidance. That knowledge is there in books, but to fully understand the books, one requires guidance. It is not simply an academic process. Is there any chair free? This lady would like to sit down, it seems. Someone can give a chair for her? Give her a chair. So the supreme truth is the supreme pure. So a purification of consciousness is required to approach the supreme pure. Purification of consciousness, for that, purification of one's life is required, one's activities. So a guru gives spiritual knowledge based on the standard books of spiritual knowledge, the Vedic knowledge, and also teaches by personal example the process of purification. Our Guru, Srila Prabhupada, translated the word Guru into English as spiritual master. How do they translate it in the books? So it's not simply an academic post, but it requires tremendous faith on the part of the disciple to submit himself to be ruled by the spiritual master. Just like young children are ruled practically by their parents, or parent as the case may be. The child has to accept the absolute authority of the parents in every matter. The parents have no reservations in absolutely ruling their children, the young children. They have no reservation in doing so. They don't think, well, we should give the children equal rights or any such thing. Because it's understood the child is foolish and requires to be trained. If the child is not controlled at every moment, he might, for instance, drink a bottle of bleach and kill himself. So, however much one may be academically qualified or respected in human society, when one approaches a guru, he has to make himself submissive, understanding himself to be spiritually just like a child. In terms of spiritual understanding and knowledge of spiritual practices, one who is completely ignorant requires to be guided at every step by a guru. That is the meaning of a spiritual master. Are there any questions about this, please? Yeah, there's a hand up immediately. What are the characteristics of the soul? Is that what you mean? Can you like to translate that? Yeah, the soul, the Sanskrit word is Atma. That is the actual person or self. The soul means the conscious being. We, in material consciousness, we identify the body as myself. What is your name? Senya. Are you from Croatia?
No, I'm Russian.
You're from Russia. So if I ask you who you are, you will say, I am Senya from Russia.
No, actually.
You won't say that.
I would say my name, but I wouldn't identify myself.
Alright, well, most people, they identify themselves. Yeah, okay. Translate all that. Generally we identify ourselves with the name we have been given, the country we are born in, and various other material designations that we have acquired either by birth or by fate. However, that is not me. I am not Russian or Croatian or British or even male or female in the material sense. I am not the body. When this body dies, I will continue to exist. The body is a combination of chemicals. Consciousness, that is the property of the soul. So the Atma or the soul is the possessor of consciousness. The soul is that which is alive. The body is not actually alive. The body is just chemicals. Chemicals are not alive. the body has life as long as the soul is within the body. When the body dies, or at the point of death, the soul leaves the body, but the soul does not die. In every language of the world, when someone dies, we say, he has gone away. I don't know Croatian or Russian, but I'm sure in these languages, when someone dies, they say, he's gone away. In every language of the world. So actually, it's understood that he or she or the person has gone away. The body remains, but the person is different from the body. So the nature of the soul is living consciousness. With consciousness comes desire, that is knowledge, desire. These are all concomitants of consciousness. As long as our knowledge of the constitutional position of the soul is covered by the desire to enjoy this material world, we have to take birth again and again within this material world. But when we get knowledge of our actual pure existence in relationship with Krishna, then we desire to serve Krishna and we no longer take birth in the material world. That's a brief introduction to knowledge of the soul. This is dealt with in detail in Bhagavad Gita, the basic teachings of Lord Krishna, which is available here in Croatian with full commentary. I don't know if probably don't have it in Russian. Do we have it in English here?
I know Croatian.
No Croatian. All right.
I can learn more Croatian.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Can you tell me what is your statement about out-of-body experiences?
Out-of-body experiences. Astral travel. Are you referring to this? Actually, I'm not very interested in astral travel because even though you may go to various planes of consciousness by astral travel, they're all within material existence. So we are interested in traveling beyond material existence to the spiritual world. The ability to travel on the mystic platform within the material world is another trap of Maya or illusion. By controlling the breath and other yogic practices, yogis can acquire certain mystic powers. They can become invisible, they can read your mind, they can see what's going on thousands of miles away, they can perceive various subtle beings. So they acquire various powers which most people don't have. But that is not synonymous with self-realization. And that is rather a distraction from the pursuit of self-realization. So if you're interested in astral travel, you could maybe find out some Tibetan Lama or someone like that who might be able to teach you something about it. But that won't help you in the ultimate sense. We still remain trapped in the world of birth and death. So I'm not going to tell you any more. You came to the wrong shop. If you want to buy apples, don't go to the electricity shop. Don't go to a shop which sells electrical appliances. So if you want mystic travel, astral travel, don't come here. Sorry, it's not our business. We're not selling. We're not promoting that. But we can say that the goods that we are purveying, or what we are offering, is much better than astral travel. And it's actually much more easy to attain also. It's not very easy to get the power to have astral travel. And it can also be very dangerous. So what we are offering is that which is easily attained, unlimitedly better than astral travel, and not dangerous. Astral travel, it's like toys for children or something like that. It's a game for people who are not spiritually advanced, but who think they are. For people who are playing at spiritual life, who are not actually serious about it. Are there any other questions, please? Yeah, we can pass the microphone.
How we can find the Guru?
Kako možemo naći Guru?
Well, I'm promoting myself. I'm not promoting myself. I'm being promoted here as a guru. That's not a very good way to find a guru. Just someone says, I'm a guru, and you say, okay, all right, I accept. Don't accept very easily, because the guru business is mostly a cheating business. So first of all, if we are to find a guru, we should know what are the characteristics of a guru. Are mangoes available in Rijeka? You can buy mangoes here? Yeah, okay. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, you didn't get mangoes. So if you don't know what a mango is, and you go to buy a mango, you're liable to be cheated. Someone might give you a watermelon instead. So you should have some basic knowledge of what a mango is if you want to buy a mango. So in the same way, one should first of all know what a guru is before one tries to find a guru. Guravo bahavo santi shishya vittapaharaka durlabha guravo devi shishya Santapaharaka. There is one verse that there are many gurus who are expert in taking away the money of their disciples. Durlabha Sadguru Devi. But the real guru is very rare, one who is expert in taking away the miseries of his disciples, which is the actual purpose of a guru. So before going shopping in the Guru Bazaar, one should be clear what his purpose is. Therefore, I was quoting this verse in which Lord Krishna states the purpose of human life. If one's purpose is to get free from birth and death and attain the ultimate reality, then if he searches for a guru, then he will be guided from within to attain a real guru. But if one wants to be cheated, then one will get the cheating kind of guru. So the symptoms of a guru, they are described in the Vedic scripture. There are two basic symptoms within which all others are subsumed. They're called Shrotriyan Brahmanishtam. Shrotriyan means he himself has heard the knowledge of the truth within a bona fide school of teaching the truth. Just like, for instance, if you want to go to a doctor, you want to see the doctor has got proper credentials, he's been trained in a proper school. So he should be qualified with the knowledge, otherwise how can he teach you? And because this knowledge is not simply some theoretical kind of knowledge, but because it affects our very being, then we have to see also Brahmanishtam, that this person is actually fixed on the spiritual platform. Which means that he is not acting for sense gratification. His life is not meant for sense gratification. He's not trying to enjoy the body. He's not interested in anything mundane, but is fixed in the supreme truth, in the reality of serving Krishna. So this can be judged from the behavior of one who's actually a guru. That's why in the scriptures it's recommended that one should see someone. Don't accept a guru very quickly. See how he behaves. See how he teaches. Take some time. It takes some time to understand. It may take some time to understand, to see if such a person is actually, as much as we can ascertain from our platform, to see if a person is actually fixed on the spiritual platform. This book, The Science of Self-Realization, is a very good introductory book to Krishna consciousness. These topics of the nature of the soul and the characteristics of a genuine guru are described in some detail in that book. Having said that, I hope you have some on the book table. You don't have that book? Don't have it?
They're out of print for 3 years.
Alright. Well, anyway, everything's there in Bhagavad Gita, but it's a little bit difficult. Please give them prasad, whoever's leaving. You have prasad, and don't let anyone go without prasad. Make sure everyone gets some. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
I have one question. I would rather go back to the soul, because I'm very interested about the soul, and I would like to know what is the reason that we identify ourselves with this miserable and temporary body. As you said, this body is naturally destined to birth, old age, disease is finally dead, and why we don't see ourselves as happy and eternal spiritual souls?
Yeah. You like to say that in Croatian? Yeah, it's absurd, isn't it?
Yes.
Why is everyone so stupid? That's the question, actually. Well, it's called Maya, or illusion, in which we are attached to the hope of being happy in this material existence. Even though we see that everyone's in the whole of history, the whole history of the human race is a history of people acting to try to be happy and failing to do so. So, because of lack of knowledge of the true happiness of the spirit soul, we try to find happiness on this vastly inferior platform. Because the nature of the soul is to desire happiness, and we have no knowledge of happiness on the spiritual platform, then we settle for the much inferior alternative. Such as, for instance, lying on the beach and drinking wine. We don't have knowledge of the actual happiness of serving Krishna in the spiritual world, and considering that lying on a beach and drinking wine is much better than working in a factory, we'd rather lie on a beach and drink wine. But the fact that we have to go back to the factory for 49 weeks a year or something, we don't even like to think about that while we're lying on the beach. And even though lying on the beach with half the population of Europe sharing the beach with us isn't all that much fun, that's all we know. And 49 weeks a year while we're in the factory, we're thinking of getting back to the beach, even though it wasn't much fun. And the fact that we have to suffer birth, death, old age and disease, it's obviously true, but it's a great obstacle in our obtaining happiness on the material platform. That's why when we tell most people, well, actually you have to die and you have to get old, they say, don't say that. Don't spoil the fun. We're having fun here on the beach. They don't want to hear it because they're attached to the idea of material happiness. Because they don't have knowledge of the actual position of happiness on the spiritual platform. So because we're attached to the idea of happiness, even though material happiness is very, very insignificant, we don't want to consider the overwhelming unhappiness of this material world, because we're clutching onto that little happiness which is there. So it's due to ignorance, by which we embrace illusion. We'd rather accept the illusion than accept the reality of the miserable nature of this material world. Okay, well, it looks like some people are getting fed up and leaving here. So I suggest we have a kirtan and then distribute prasadam. Is there prasadam for everyone? Did you announce that? No one should leave without taking spiritual food. That's a rule. You're not allowed to leave unless you take spiritual food. Okay, I just heard you say in Croatian, stretcher. I don't know what it means in Croatian, but we could all use a little stretch also. So we can do some spiritual stretching. I suggest we have a kirtan with transcendental yoga, stretching the body, standing up and dancing.